Perfect.
All right, everybody, what's going on? And welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk. Of course, this is a show we cover the SWAC inside and out. And I'm your tour guide around the SWAC. C. Wells coming at you. And today we're gonna talk about the Labor Day Classic, TSU PVU, Houston, Texas. Get into the season, big rivalry game. We're gonna talk about this game and why this game is more important than most of y'all probably think. This is a rivalry that is very intense. These teams don't like each other, man. These fan bases don't like each other. The fact that it's the first game of the season, you know, it definitely sets the tone. But this year stakes are to me a little bit higher, especially because raise myself up a little bit, especially because TSU is a team that should be on the find themselves in the mix for a SWAC championship berth. So that puts them and PV on a collision course that's not just, you know, for bragging rights. This is a very, very important game. Probably the second biggest game of week one. You know what I mean? Obviously, FAMU Jackson State is a big game, and that's the game that overshadows everybody on week one. But this is probably the second biggest game on week one. Big West Division matchup. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Before we do that, y'all can hit those socials. Facebook is SWAC Talk, Instagram SWAC Talk, Twitter SWAC Talk 76. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We making the march to 1K, man. We almost there, getting closer and closer, man. Definitely thank y'all for subscribing, and thank y'all for rocking with us this long. If you haven't subscribed already, man, hit that button. We got more stuff coming the way. Next couple weeks, we'll start our 12-team previews. We got a SWAC Smoke Live 100th episode coming in 2 weeks, so that's going to be a celebration. Got a lot going on, man, so y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you'll be alerted when the videos drop. And like them, share them, and hit the comments and let me know what you think about the Labor Day Classic this season. So back to the matter at hand. In my mild deep voice, I'm going to start from the beginning at the top of the list. TSU PV. This is obviously, this is a matchup that's kind of been one-sided in recent years. PV has won eight in a row. TSU hasn't won, I think, since like 2014. So this has been the Panthers rivalry. TSU almost got them in the spring season. Probably should have beat them there. Some bad calls kind of cost them that game. And, you know, then PV had kind of won comfortably the last couple years. But this season, this TSU team is primed and ready for a divisional championship run. This team is a lot of juniors and some seniors now. You got to remember, this team was a very, very young team a couple years ago, and now they're older. PV is still in the mix. They both teams come in feeling like they should have went to the SWAC championship, which is definitely a fact. Both teams had their chances to go on the last game of the season for each team, and they had crazy, weird games that ended their season. So they both feel like they have a chance, which is last season they both did. This season, they both have legitimate chances, and we're going to see how this shapes up because coming into the season, you had TSU who won 5 games for the first time in a while, went 4-4 in conference. Prairie View was they finished the season at 6-5 and 5-3 in conference. So this is a collision course. Depending on how you stack these teams up, these could be your 1 and 2 teams in the division going into the season. They could be 2 and 3, 3 and 4, somewhere in that mix. they need to go through each other to get where they want to go. And the main reason why I say this game is very, very important is because A is the first game of the season. And, your first game is always most important. The next game is always most important. But both teams can ill afford to lose this game, especially with both teams being in the position that they are. Somebody has to lose. But when you look at Prairie View early season schedule, 3 of their first 5 games are SWAC games. And not only are those 3 games SWAC games, but they're West Division games. So if they were to lose to TSU, they are extra in the hole because they have 2 games coming up in back-to-back weeks against Alcorn and Grambling that they need to win because losing those games gives those teams tiebreakers against you early. And now you're playing catch-up because if you lose to TSU, you already need them to lose a couple games to catch up. Then you have, your Alcorn and Grambling matchups back-to-back. This could come in off of games against Abilene Christian and SMU. So this is not an easy schedule to open up the season. And if you falter in week 1, you're going to find yourself playing catch-up pretty quickly. The same can be said for TSU. They play Grambling in the 4th game of the season. So they have 1 divisional game early after the Prairie View game. So they have a little bit more leeway because they have 3 non-conference games before they get into the bulk of conference play on October 14th against Bethune-Cookman. Their schedule is a little bit backloaded with division opponents because they got Southern on the 28th of October, Alcorn on the 11th of November, and Pine Bluff to close out the season on the 18th of November. So they have a little bit more room for error because they don't necessarily have all those games out in front. Now, I guess it also depends on how you look at it. If you want to kind of get off to a good start, 3 early conference games can set the tone. You can win these games and you could go on a run. And by the beginning of October, you can have, if you win 3-0 in those games, that's 3 tiebreakers over 3 teams that are all considered to be teams to contend for the division. So you could have the division in a nice hold before you get to your stretch run. But like I said, on the flip side, if you lose that game and you drop one of those other 2 games, you find yourself playing catch up. I don't think you're gonna win the division with more than 3 losses. So it's gonna be competitive, but this is gonna be a 2 or 3 loss winner, probably 2 losses, and very few divisional losses. When you look at last season, everybody pretty much had 1 division loss. So that's not the end all be all because obviously every SWAC game you play that's considered a conference game counts towards your standings. But for tiebreakers and stuff, divisional record is big. So you want to beat these teams because you want to win the games, but B, you want to have that tiebreaker over teams. So having that 1 game, then playing 2 non-conference games, then jumping back into conference play, that could be a little tough, especially with 2 FBS teams. If you don't play well in that first game and then you got to go on the road back-to-back weeks and then go back on the road because your 3 of your first 4 games are away from home, that's a lot of travel early in the season. And if you're not on a good course, you can find yourself, kind of in a bad spot. For both teams, like I said, you want to win this game. It's a rivalry. Prairie View has found ways to win these last 2 games. Last season, they won 40-23 in a game that took a while to start. They had a weather delay that held this game up for a while. But Prairie View was able to take advantage of basically 3 big quarters. They 14 points in the first quarter, 10 in the second, 13 in the third, to kind of put this game away before TSU scored points at the end toward the end of the game. The year before, it was kind of similar. Prairie View jumped out to a big lead at half and basically, had their way through the second half. But I like this matchup a lot. And like I'm not going to go super in depth in this because hey, we got week 1 previews that'll be coming in the future, and we got team previews that'll be coming in the near future. So I'm not gonna go super in depth on these games, but this should be a good matchup. I mean, both teams run the ball extremely well. Prairie View, obviously, they led the league in rushing. TSU was a pretty solid rushing team. Prairie View defense was not that great against the run. Texas Southern defense also gave up big yardage on the ground. Quarterback battle. Connolly has a year under his belt. He's getting a lot of praise coming into this season, and of course Andrew Body, coming back from injury, that's going to be something to monitor. He is throwing. Is he going to be, is he going to be ready for this? Which I really feel he will. That's something to look at. But this should be a good matchup. The defenses are both going to be probably surprising out of both units. The offenses are probably going to control this game. Like I said, I'm not going to break it down or nothing like that. But both teams have great running games. Prairie View's passing game is going to be probably their key for this game because last season they didn't throw the ball that much, and they were efficient when they threw the ball, but they didn't throw it a lot. So you may see them throw a bit more this season to kind of open things up. But I feel like obviously the law of averages is what makes things tick in sports. Eventually you're gonna have to win. I mean, you can't lose every time you play a team. At least I don't think you can. Eventually guys are gonna get to the point where they've been around long enough. The majority of the team has lost this matchup 2 or 3 times. So they're speaking from a TSU perspective. They have lost this matchup 2 or 3 times. Most of the guys on the team. So of course they're gonna be ready for this to end. Last season. A lot of people picked TSU to win. I did too. Prairie View, I think they have to stay hungry in this matchup. They can't go into this matchup thinking that, because they've won the last few games that they'll win this time. They have to go in with that mentality that TSU going to be ready for a fight because TSU has a lot that they want to prove this season. And for them to take that step, this is a game that they have to win because obviously, when you look at TSU record-wise the last few years, it hasn't been great. And losing that first game of the season kind of sends you on a spiral. Last season they went 0-2 before they shut out Southern. The year before they went 0-3 before they shut out North American. So if you lose the Prairie View and lose a couple of games, it look like you shut out the team you play next. But seriously. In the spring, they lost 1 game after they lost that game. Then in 2019, we all know that team didn't win a game. And in 2018, they played that game in the last game of the season, so that kind of changed some things. Same thing with 2017, 2019, 2016, went 0-2, went 0-2 before they ripped off 3 wins in a row. So this game can be one of those games that if you lose it, you tend to kind of, I don't want to say sulk, but you kind of don't really get in the groove after this. So it's important to win this game. This is new. That'll be new territory for this team. Winning this game and being able to go out the next couple of weeks and play free in your FBS games, knowing that you're going to come back in conference play at 1-0 and 1-0 division is definitely a huge step for you. And I think whoever wins this game is probably going to be in the driver's seat for the bulk of the season, provided they don't slip up anywhere. I'm not saying that the winner of this game is going to win the division, but I think the winner of this game is going to be in a good spot because A, you already beat the main team that you compete against every year, and B, you already have a leg up on everybody in the division. And Prairie View, obviously, with those 3 early division games, definitely can find themselves in a good spot with a win. I'm eager for this game, man. I really wish I was able to go to this game because I want to see this matchup. Definitely going to try to keep up with it. And that's why I feel like this is probably like I said, the second biggest game of week one, because you know we all know what the first one is. This game doesn't generate that kind of energy outside of the both fan bases, but this is a huge game for the whole West Division. This game can sway some things depending on how this matchup goes. Everybody's gonna know, where both these teams stand because you're coming out the gate against a division opponent and a team that on the other side can be considered a division contender. So I'm eager for this game, and that's why I feel like this game is probably one of the most important Labor Day Classics in a long time. I mean, I don't even know how far back you have to go to look at this game as being a game that was important for both sides. That's going to be something that you got to kind of look at. But that's going to do it for today's show, man. I thank y'all for tuning in. We're going to continue to bring out some more stuff. We got SWAC Smoke live tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Another edition of SWAC Talk coming on Sunday. And we'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.